Hey, it's me, Thick Mostolo, and I'm doing a video on Victor and Valentino season 2. I didn't notice they do season 3. I was planning to do this about a year ago, and I was like, oh, okay. But then um, this, I guess, stuff happened. You've seen the videos for the past year. Anyway, that was a very interesting season. Goes more Mesoamerican type. Then you have the one I did like was Journey to Maze Mountain. So it has Quetzalcoatl, who's played at sounds like Chung. I want to be honest, from Cheech and Chong, and he's like, "Bro, man, let's get some maze." And so it's kind of the mythology of how Quetzalcoatl got maze, but in a modernized time, and I liked it about it. Um, so he turns into an ant, gets maze, hijinks ensues, typical Victor Valentino stuff. Let's see. Los pájaros, it's just a gifts to Huitzil, this hummingbird, which I think is supposed to be Huitzilopochtli. Um, but before you watch that one, because for some odd reason, here's another thing I don't know if they did this on purpose or they messed up or what happened, but um, um, if you're on HBO Max, I recommend watching episode 16, Guillermo's Girlfriend, before you watch 14, Los Pájaros, because there's something sentimental in the 16th episode that it makes sense once you see 14. Um, and also Guillermo's Girlfriend episode, I think they got Guillermo del Toro in it because there's a guy that looks like him. It sounds like him. I'm like, it has to be him. But I didn't read the credits, so who knows? Let's see. Starry Night. I like that one because it has the Thesemis in it. And without spoiling it, or maybe I should spoil a bit. If you ever read the Florentine Codex, I feel like the person who made this episode had to read it. Like I don't know how else to describe it, but they have the Thesemis possess people, and so they have the weird obsidian type eyes and everything, which is pretty interesting. Then you have, I think the clue in that episode has, I think it's, you're gonna find that at least my assumption is they're trying to figure out who the grandma is for the kids, and I think she's Chaltriquite. Um, so anyway, and then you have episode 18, Fuego Fest, which to me I feel like it's another episode that's out of order. Um, that one I feel like you have to watch number 20, Cupcake Man, first for 18, because there's a joke in 18 that if you watch 20 it feels like a run-on joke, but because if you watch 18 you're like, well, what's that? And when you watch 20 you're like, oh man, I could have laughed. For some odd reason they just put it in a weird backwards order chronologically, so that's my recommendation. 19, it's folk art friends, which is Alebrijes. If you watch the first episode of Victor Valentino, you find out there's other creatures that are the other Alebrijes you saw in the first episode. They get unleashed in this one, so it's a little funny on that one. I would say another episode, I feel like it's out of order, especially if you pay attention to the backgrounds. Episode 21, Villainy in Monte Cabre. Macabre. For some odd reason, well, if you pay attention to the backgrounds and then you watch the episode and still pay attention to the backgrounds, you see something that is inconsistent. So I recommend putting number 21 to before you watch episode 35. The Through the Nine Realms of Mictlan, which I will talk about later right now. So hold on. Uh, let's see what else is there. Oh Man Theo, which I love. It's Theo, and if you listen to the whole his background of the story, it's just telling a retelling of Theo being the old god, which is I think is very interesting. One episode, 26, in your own skin, has Chipotoltec, and there's a lot of references to him on it. He's a character in it, which is pretty interesting, and I like it for that reason. Then you have episode 30, Baby Pepito. Joke right there. He is the baby in this episode is actually a Chineke. One of those weird creatures. I don't know how much people are familiar with, but there are these creatures that supposedly they're abandoned babies that left in front of your doorstep and take your life and soul. I don't know how else to describe it. But that's pretty much the idea of a Chineke. Goes back before the conquest type of story. That's about it there. And then you have the last episode, Through the Nine Realms of Mictlan. So each level, like if you are a novice or wanting to learn about how the underworld works, Mictlan, I think it's a perfect example, at least in a modern telling of it, which I think is very interesting. Like I think someone who knew Nahuatl coached them how to say the words, which makes it very interesting. Like, oh wow. And they have a Sholoi Squinkle guiding them through the whole underworld, typical stuff like that. But like I said, if you ever read Hero Trains Going to the Underworld or reading books or texts about going into the underworld, I think it's a good modernized version of it. And like if that was last episode, I'll be like, okay, that's perfect. But it was a third season. Anyway, I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.